Are here on a touchdown Tuesday. Me, myself, Mojo. To my right over here.
Yo, Mel the Guru B.
Jay the Truth.
And we here. We gonna talk about what happened week one. We gotta wrap it up. I don't know how you guys did in fantasy. I think things could have gone better, for a lot of us out there. But that's what we're here for. We're gonna give you that expert advice. Make sure that you're prepared for week two. Make sure you can put week one behind you, but hopefully you learn something and grow from the experience, whether you won or lost. Still a
I
learning
love week
experience.
one. I love
Yeah,
week
I
one.
love week one. It's kind of
Yeah.
easy for me. What'd you guys do as far as your lineups? Did you go with what was picked, or did you switch it up?
Oh, well, I mean, yeah. Sure. Well, y'all know I'm in 12 different leagues. I went 11-1. That's right. Went 11-1. And for the most part, yeah, I did. I stuck to my guns at the last second. I had to drop. In one league, I had to drop Pierce to pick up a kicker. It's a really small league, an 8-person league. So I had to pick up a kicker,
Oh,
McManus, but I won by 12, and he got me them 12. So it was a good coach call at the end.
All right. Yeah, I did the same thing. I pretty much stuck with my draft. I didn't do too much. Matter of fact, I didn't do any switching out this first week, and I went. I'm 6-0, 6-0 so far. Um,
Word, word.
no issues. I mean, few issues, but just some things we're going to be talking about to look at, and if I need to make some adjustments, I might be making some adjustments this coming week, but they're pretty good.
I think I made two moves. One cost me a week. I lost one league by 6 points. I took out Buffalo's defense and put in Cleveland and lost by 6 points. But the difference in the defenses was about 40 points, so gave that one away. And then I moved somebody out of the lineup that was hurt. But other than that, I stuck with what I got in the draft. Um, but yeah, I went 4-4 this week. It was a rough week for me, and
Hey,
most
yo,
of
didn't hey, yo,
most
didn't
of them
Cleveland
were
play
really close.
Carolina?
Huh? No, I played
Didn't
Cleveland. I played. Yeah, they did. And
Wow, the disrespect for Carolina. Wow.
yeah, and you can catch me later on. I'll be repping Carolina on the Matchup Madness show. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Uh, but yeah, and it's crazy because I'm putting Cleveland defense back in this week. It may sound stupid, but they're playing the Jets.
The
So
Jets,
yeah,
as
so I
you should,
can't
as
go,
you
can't
should.
go wrong. Can't go wrong.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm streaming them. I'm streaming them.
Same here.
yeah. I tried to convince Young Phil to come on today, after he guaranteed victory most of last week. How did that particular matchup work out for you guys?
I'll let you go first, Jay, if you
Well,
want.
of course I won. Like I said, I'm 6-0, so it wasn't too hard. It was pretty much a. I'm not gonna say it was a blowout, but I won convincingly.
Yeah, it just depends on what you consider a blowout, I guess.
Yeah, it's all relative.
If we ask
Uh,
him, he'll say you just
well,
squeaked that victory out.
well, I know he ain't gonna say the same because in our league, he called himself JP Bulldog. I don't know if that's for just playing or just pretending or just pranking or what that JP stand for. But the Bulldogs, I'm looking at him more like Puppy Chow. Why am I going in hard? Because he was going in hard before, and I
uh,
was trying to be a humble host. I think pretty much he was. I was projected at. I'm not really big on projections. I was projected at 239, and I believe he was projected at 237.7, something like that. And he ended up with 237, so he got his projection. But I got 314. So I believe in the league I had the highest point
just tell
too, if
us
I'm not
how
mistaken.
big I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming.
You
Yeah,
said what? Oh
I
yeah,
knew
yeah,
it
yeah.
was
You know
coming.
it's coming. You know it's coming. But with that being said, I try to tell him, I had Derek Carr going against Lamar. I had Mixon going against Henry. I had CH going against Connor. What Adams against Judy, and I know. Oh, I had Hawkinson. He had Whaler. let me see, Brown versus Dot. He put Dotson in the lineup. I mean, he left out on that, but he did put Dotson in the lineup. And of course, my flex was sexy because I had Sutton, he had Kirk, and and then even on my bench, I had Kirk Cousins. I had, just guys who was just putting numbers up. Henderson, Terry McLaurin. That's what my bench looked like. So
So it sounds like your
I'm
team
looking forward to
lived
next
up
week
to
already.
expectations. So for you guys, it sounds like your draft strategy definitely worked as far as week 1 is concerned. That's what I'm getting out of this.
Yeah.
The balanced approach. I mean, you had some people that underperform, but as long as you keep it balanced, you don't have to just hang your hat on one player.
Right.
Nah.
Right. And when you happen to have a group of people that overperform, it kind of helps out to get that high score of the week. Congratulations, Guru. I'm sure you'll take that W. We'll see. I'm sure I'm playing you sometime soon. I'm playing JP Bulldogs, Puppy Child this week, whatever we gonna call them. Well,
congratulations in advance.
JP Bulldogs. They got them projected to beat me as of right now. I'm projected to lose. We'll see. You guys were projected to lose too, so I'm just hoping that pattern keeps up. I'm also with Jay. I'm playing you in the league, I think, this week as well. So
yeah,
it'll be interesting. We'll have a lot to talk about.
I didn't get a chance to see the matchups yet.
No worries. They got me tearing you down a bit. So we'll see about that 6-0 next week. We'll see. And Guru will just wait on you. I'll wait on you for another week.
Yes, sir.
So moving from that, so we had the draft strategy. What kind of team composition? How do you feel about your team moving forward? Like, are there any moves you feel like you need to make? Like, you feel like you're good at running back, at tight end?
I have one team. I definitely have to look at the running back position. Just a little. It's a little unbalanced. So I'm looking at hopefully some waiver wires or maybe a trade. Might be throwing a few trades out this week just to try to balance this team out. Also tight end in one league. The one league. Matter of fact, the league that I played Puppy Chow in. I'm looking at maybe picking up a tight end off the wire.
Well, I'm letting you know, if you need some trades, the Guru's office, the general manager's office is open because my bench is stacked. To answer your question, Mojo, on my end, I have to say the same like Truth did. In most of my leagues, I need to pick up a tight end. You know what my philosophy is. If I don't get one of the top 3 tight ends, I'll just punt that position and come later on, rounds 11, 12 or so, and get a tight end. So I got it. I got the Njokus of the world, and so I may have to look into something else, but I'm sure I can make some magic happen with my stout bench.
Yeah, for me, I'm kind of in a similar position where I'm comfortable with my running backs, wideouts, even my quarterbacks. In a couple of leagues, I didn't really draft quarterback very high. I waited it out, and it really paid off because I got some really good other fill-ins. But tight end, I really waited late in like all of my drafts for tight end, so I'm stuck with the Higbees and the and like you said, the Njokus and those guys. While they can be serviceable, it's when you lose by a couple of points, it's like wow, wish I had a better tight end.
And that's actually a good philosophy because in a couple of leagues, I punted the quarterback position and I just went ahead and got Kirk Cousins. And a lot of people was kind of downing on Kirk C, but it's like the number one wideout is who? Justin Jefferson. Who's throwing him the ball? So that means the person that's throwing the ball got to get some money, got to get some points. Yeah, he may get a pick or here or there, but a pick might get you a minus 3 or 4 points versus all the touchdowns, plus 6, plus 12, plus 18. Come on, give me Kirk Cousins. Let's roll.
Yeah.
Kirk Cousins, Matthew Stafford.
Yeah. They're definitely point getters in fantasy that, may not be big winners in life, but in fantasy, they definitely can be serviceable. Jay, you brought up something, possible trades. Is it too early to trade? Like if you're trading now Do you feel like you're really missing something, or you're just trying to round that team out? What do you know?
Well, part of my draft strategy, like when I don't, and I'm talking particularly that the team I was just talking about. I had some other players fell to me, so I ended up passing on a running back in the third, fourth round, where I probably should have, where I would have been much more balanced if I took him. But what I do have is some trade bait. I have several wide receivers in that league. Like I'm looking at trading like CD Lamb, and I'll be fine, or Sutton. So I'm just looking for somebody who, is down, down the trade. It depends, but I can let go of some wide receivers and try to pick up a decent back to fill that position, or tight end, and I'll be fine at wide receiver. So it's not particularly. I mean, I would say if it's too early for a trade in the sense of, trade. I'm looking at play. I just want this player because he's doing well. It was more of my strategy when I drafted that I was looking to see, okay, which wide receivers am I going to keep, and which two am I going to put up for trade to try to do something about getting the back after the season starts.
Okay. What's your thoughts, Mel?
Oh, same. I agree with 100% of what Truth just said. Yeah, I don't have nothing much to add. It's always trade talk time. Always trade talk time.
Well, you know me. I already made 2 trades this year before week 1. So hey, it's never too early to trade in my book. But it's like you mentioned, CD Lamb. How much value does he hold right now? We're not going to pick on any teams, but there's a particular team that looked terrible even before their starting quarterback got hurt. They just looked completely out of sync. And with another quarterback being in there for weeks, I mean, do you think you could get some decent value, or would you think maybe you hold on to him a couple of weeks?
Well, that backup quarterback, he had some decent wins last year. I mean, he's not a bad quarterback. So I don't really think it's going to take away from CeeDee Lamb's production now that them being in sync or not is just something that's going to happen. But it normally does, his first game of the season. And I'm looking at Dallas fans, part of that that's part of the trade too. I mean, I know there's a couple people that just, they like to pick their players. And CeeDee Lamb's going to show up. I'm not. If I don't trade him, I think he'll be fine.
Yeah. Now let's not be in a Cooper rush to give Dak a hand, because I'm just saying. Let's not be in a rush to do that. Let's not be in a rush. Dak. Well, according to the real doctors, it's going to be 6 to 8 weeks. But according to Dr. Jerry Jones /owner /coach /GM /everything, he said that Dak's going to be back out there in the next 4 weeks. Personally, I think he's just saying that because really behind the scenes, they're trying to go after maybe a Jimmy G or somebody else to try to salvage their year. Because Cooper Rush is not the answer, but I think they're just trying to play coy so that they can lower the trade capital for whoever they're trying to get.
Yeah.
And like
maybe he didn't saw what happened to Russell Wilson last year.
Yeah. And if you look at it, Rush didn't look terrible, and he didn't look terrible last year when he filled in for Dak. But like you say, I don't think he's the answer. I don't think San Francisco's giving up Jimmy G, first of all. They're not sold on Trey. So that's why they signed him. That's why they re-signed him. I don't think they're giving him up. And I don't think Dallas is looking for him. I think they're trying to tank, to be honest. Because number one, Dak was smiling when he was going off the field while they were throwing trash at him. Okay. He pulled himself out the game. And I'm saying, the game wasn't even over, and Jerry Jones was already announcing that he was going to need surgery and be out for 6 to 8 weeks. So I'm trying to figure out how you figured all of that out in that little tent on the sideline within 15 minutes. That was the fourth quarter when he got hurt. So there was no MRI done. The surgery hadn't been performed. Meanwhile, Dr. Jones was already announcing that he was having surgery and will be out for multiple weeks. So all of it seemed a little quick to me. But hey, so it goes in Dallas. They may be looking to move up in the draft next year. Who knows? We don't really know. We're not Mr. Jones because he's the coach, the GM, the owner, the doctor. He's all that. He might as well go out in there and play quarterback.
True.
Yeah.
So Guru had brought up something to me earlier. We talk about all the positions. We even talk about defense every now and then. Nobody mentions the kicker. Are they really helpful in fantasy? Do we need them? I know they play, but should they be added to special teams and defense, or can they be helpful to you?
I mean, my kicker one of my kickers put up 17 points this week, so they can definitely be helpful. I like them being in a separate position than being, So I think some leagues do link them all together with defense, but I like having. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, bro.
No, I don't mind having a separate kicker. I'm not gonna lie though. I mean, I usually don't. I usually just, I'm not really
drafting a kicker,
drafting and researching kickers, but I will just look for the best available.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, I mean, kickers are essential. What I was saying earlier was like, not the tees, like kicking tees, but but kicking those threes, because with a kicker, depending on your format. Now, definitely not in the standard. Well, probably not in the standard format because you really don't get points. That's why I don't do standard leagues. But when you have PPR or PPR league, and you get, especially if you got a league where you get the bonus for like 50 yards, 60 yarders, man, Young Way Cool helped me out. I got him in like 8 leagues this year. I just really picked him up streaming at the end of the draft and off waivers for most of them. And in some leagues, one league he had me 24 points, the other one's 19 and 17 respectively, which is more than some of the primetime players on my opponent's team. So I definitely say that. And in one other league, I picked up Denver's kicker at the very last second, and he helped me to a championship that I would have lost by 1, but instead I won by 11. So
actually, my kicker was Young Way Cool.
There you go. Those points. I've won games. I've won weeks because of a kicker. Where if you win by a point and your kicker had 24 points, I got to give that kicker some credit. I actually lost by 16 in the league this week, and I had Devontae Smith and Matt Prater. So between them, they got 1 point. So
wow,
that's why I'm like, I know I took a couple of L's this week, but I can't be mad at that lineup. I would expect between Devontae Smith and Matt Prater, I can get 16 points.
Yeah, so Prater should have did better. That's supposed to be a shootout, but.
Yeah, and the only thing I look for in a kicker, at the end of the draft with the last pick is I'm looking for the kicker that's on the team that doesn't score touchdowns.
Right.
I'm looking for that kicker where they maybe can move the ball and get, down inside the 30 or whatever, and they just don't score. There's a few teams like that. So I'm looking for those guys,
Now for me, my kicker choice is the reason I like Young Way Cool is because he's with Atlanta Falcons. Not that I'm a strong supporter of Atlanta Falcons, but they play in the Dome, and they play against the New Orleans Saints who play in the Dome. So you guaranteed, and they're the same division rivalry. So you guaranteed at least 4 games automatically off the bat. You got 4 Dome games off the bat. Not to mention when they're playing out with the, depending on who they're playing, you have other Dome games. So that's going to be really important, especially
when they're playing at home, every home game.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
That does make a difference. That's very good point.
That's 8 plus 2 off the bat. That's 10 games. 10 out of 18 games, I know I have Dome action. So that's why I like those kickers.
Yeah, makes it different. I've seen people lose championships by a point. Kicker definitely different.
And they out there.
Y'all can have that advice for free.
In Chicago. You know what I'm saying? In the middle of December, kicking into the wind. You know what I'm saying?
Double doink.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
That's championship time, you know.
But yeah, that
Yes,
also
sir.
goes back to what you're saying about the team composition and how you construct your team. And I think the average situation is most people don't pick kicker until the end anyway. But at that point, you still want to make sure you know which kicker you're getting and just work the waiver. And if that kicker is not working, I'm sure there's a lot of kickers on the waiver. It's not like other positions. If you in a 12-person league with 32 teams, so there's probably about 20 kickers on the waiver. Because
Yeah,
I don't think anybody's gonna hold 2 kickers. Hopefully, not.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well, one year we had a guy who left the draft room and he ended up with like 10 kickers on his bench. It was ridiculous. But that was years and years ago when we were first figuring out how to set that draft up right.
Wow.
Shout out to
Ouch.
Mr. Bird. Mike.
Wow.
Yeah. All right, so we got a real big thing here now. Waiver wire targets. Who's on the waiver wire that impressed you or is likely not rostered in most leagues that you may be trying to target this week?
Well, I am. I don't know. I tell you, not. It's no big major. It's not a person that I'm really. It's some real interesting people though. Now, one, and I'm not sure if I really believe. I don't know if I really believe it, and that's Washington, Curtis Samuel.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm looking at targets. You know, when I look at pickups, because you know every game is going to be different. I'm looking at this: how much was this person target? What was their usage? You know, he got some rush attempts, 11 targets, 55 receiving yards, which isn't, you know, but you know the target share is what I'm looking at, and I'm also looking at the usage in the running game. That's one guy. That's one person I'm targeting. Another person in Jacksonville, Zay Jones. I really was trying to target him in the draft. I just kept forgetting about him. He was so far down on the in the draft log. A few drafts. I just forgot about him. And he actually is turning out to be what I thought he was going to be. So, like I said, now that's what I'm looking at. I didn't see any running backs that really intrigued me that much. Couple backups. I'm not really into the Jeff Wilson, the San Fran running backs. It's just their scheme, and I've never had a San Fran running back on my team. So, yeah, for me, Curtis Samuel, Zay Jones, both of them are not really rostered too much. I'm seeing them on my waiver list, my free agent list. So, I'm seeing if I can pick them up. I'm not too high on the waiver wire, so.
So you're not feeling Robbie Anderson? I mean, he changed his spelling of his name.
He out there. He's all over the place available. I promise you.
He didn't change the spelling of his name, and look at him now, over 100. You're not feeling Robbie?
Yeah, he hasn't done that in over a year.
I don't believe him.
That's the first time.
Because he always does that.
Yeah. Week 1 and then week 4, you in there like, why is this guy on my team?
Yeah, no.
But shout out to the Carolina Panthers.
I definitely agree with you as it relates to Samuels and Jones, the obvious number 2 receivers on the respective teams. And if that's what we're looking at, you also got to take a look at Corey Davis. I know it kind of makes you want to vomit when you say that because it's a Jets player. However, you know, in fantasy, we don't really care about the wins and losses. We only care about the points. And so Corey Davis, you know, he did have a high target share. The other 2 people who I would add, I know you said you're not really big on Jeff Wilson, but I would say take a peek at him. And the reason why is because obviously you're going to be without Eli Mitchell. they did sign. I'm sorry, the Niners did sign Marlon Mack to their practice squad today. So that is going to be some backfield competition. However, for this week, Marlon Mack's not going to be up to speed with that offense just yet. And so it's going to be the Jeff Wilson show. Of course, Debo's probably going to take some running as well, Trey Lance, but it's going to be the Jeff Wilson show. And he did prove last year when Eli went down that he was able to be sustainable as far as moving the offense forward. And then the only other thing I would kind of say is to keep an eye out on Isaiah Pacheco. I talked about him before. He's the running back / wide receiver out of KC. And as long as they are up, he's going to be in. So, and I'm looking at the upcoming schedule for Kansas City, and they should be having some pretty dominant victories. So therefore, Pacheco gets in. So that's another thing is if you see a team that's going to pretty much, you think they're going to have a landslide victory, the running backs, the backups come into the game a lot quicker than normal.
You know what? I think with Jeff Wilson, in fantasy, sometimes when you get burnt by a person, you always have.
So it's personal. It's personal.
It's about 30% personal because he's been in the league. He's been in the league for a while, but I've been there before with him, and I'm just not going to deal with him. But I think he can definitely do something. I know he can, but I'm not messing with him.
And he's available in a lot of leagues. He's not rostered in a lot of leagues. I was looking at Curtis Samuel as well. I looked past Robbie Anderson, but nobody's talking about Landry. I mean, he came out and had a day with Jameis, and that's, who's expecting it? I mean, that's why he's not rostered in a lot of places. But if they have that type of rapport all year, that could get interesting because I think actually Jameis is not rostered in a lot of leagues. I have him in like 2 leagues, In one league, I have him as my starter. I'm a believer in Mr. Winston. I think he's shown me over the years what he's capable of. I think once he got those contact lenses, the interceptions go down. If he didn't get hurt last year, he might have had another great year. 5,000 yards again or something like that. If he can just cut down on the interceptions, he can be a dangerous quarterback. And so Landry could definitely benefit from that. I don't know that I'd take him off the wire, but just some targets out there that if you are really struggling at wide receiver, it might be worth taking that flyer on,
So we all seem to be on board with Curtis Samuel. So let me ask you, both of you are more NFC East professionals. So is Washington for real? Something that Jay had brought up earlier.
Another name that's on the waiver wire that nobody brought up. Carson Wentz. 5 touchdowns, was it? What's your take, Jay?
I'm an Eagles fan. I mean, it's hard. I don't know.
And that's why Landry wasn't on my list.
Right? He had 313, 4 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. I mean, he did it. Now, whether that's going to be a weekly thing, it's not like Carson is a bad quarterback.
I mean, he did build Eagles to a championship, right? A championship run, didn't he? I think I remember that something.
Yeah, he got us there, and he got hurt.
It was a long time ago, but I think I remember that.
Yeah, he got it.
All I remember is winning the Super Bowl. The rest of it's foggy.
Hey, I don't. He may be real. I tell you, it's not like he can't do it. Now, if everything, the atmosphere is right in Washington, and I mean, what they play in Detroit this week coming up.
They just gave the Eagles a tough time. They blitzed all day.
Yeah, but we also scored 35 on them. I mean, Carson's, he's used to that. He's been.
And with Wentz's victory, do we take into account the opponent? You know, I'm not grabbing him off the wire. I don't care who my backup quarterback is. It won't be him. Um, but
Well,
If he does it this week, will you? I don't know.
ah, ah, that's
now
because
I
I
will.
think against
I
the
will
Blitz,
say.
he might be out after this week. You know, if they blitz him anywhere near to as much as they blitz Mr. Hurts, he'll be on the injury report next week. So yeah, we'll
Now,
see.
I will say this. Let me add this as far as being a defensive move. While you may not want to pick him up, for those people who have Dak Prescott, who obviously are not going to have a quarterback, and I don't, again, Cooper Rush not the answer. They may be trying to go out there and seek out somebody like a Carson Wentz or a Jameis. So, again, if you're not trying to pick him up, that's fine. But sometimes in fantasy, you have to play defensively and have to block your opponent.
Right. Makes sense to me.
Either
Or
this
just
week
get
or the
that
next.
trade bait because you may be able to pick them up, and then that same person may give you a running back or wide receiver for Carson Wentz. You know, he comes out and does it again against Detroit, and they're still in need. You're absolutely right. Just won't
Yeah.
be me. But yeah, but it was Jacksonville. So do we take some of that and say, well, it was Jacksonville?
Hey, the NFL team.
It's an NFL team.
Man, oh man.
He could.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you always take the defense into
Speechless.
consideration. Always, you always take them into consideration. However, like True said, they're still an NFL team, so he still had to throw the ball. The O line still had to block, give him the pass block timings. He still had to be able to throw the ball. Receivers still had to catch the ball. They still had to break tackle. Still had to get to the end zone. So we can poo-poo on the defense if we want to, but I guarantee you, if it was you or me out there, it'd be a lot different.
Yeah, it definitely, but it has definitely crossed my mind to try to get him. But my issue this week is I'm not high on the waivers, so somebody probably will pick him up. But I don't know, I'll pick him up just to hold him, and if he does it next week, somebody will want him.
And if they're that pass heavy, 41 pass attempts is a lot. So if they're going that pass heavy, he might be worth the pickup just to get the yards every week. And if he's getting touchdowns, because he's definitely a fit. He definitely knows how to play the game. And he might be revived to that 2016, 2017 form. But he still had 2 picks too.
And Moser, let me add one quick thing before we pivot off of this. Also take into consideration the composition of that team. They were moving away from Antonio Gibson. They had him returning kicks until the unfortunate injury to Brian Robinson. They were moving away from him. So their game plan was not for Gibson. So now that they have to pivot and get back to him, I don't see it being an equal split between pass and run. I see it being much more pass heavy because, again, that's not what they're trying to do. Of course, they have the short dump offs to him but that's not. I don't think that's what they're looking for right now. I don't think that they're feeling Antonio Gibson.
And I think they really wanted a more proficient quarterback just so they could pass the ball more. They had Heineke, who was, he was managing games more than winning games. So I definitely see what you're saying there. What about Duvernay? I see him on the wire in a couple of leagues. Is he worth a grab?
He appears to be for real.
Is he for real?
Huh? He appears to be for real. The only problem is he's supposed to be the number 3 receiver. So outside of Mark Andrews and Bateman, however, he did have more targets than Bateman this week. So, what was that? I didn't really pay attention to that part of the game. I don't know if the scheme was to, double down on Bateman or give him extra covers over the middle. But Duvernay seemed like he is for real.
Yeah, Duvernay. He's from Penn State. Was it? What? I believe so. I may be wrong, but he was good. I know he was good in college. I can't remember if he was Penn State or not, but he was he was a good receiver in college. I can see him now. I didn't get a chance to see the game. Where was he playing out? Was he playing out the slot?
Now he caught a couple of deep balls too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're saying he's going to be the preferred deep threat actually for for the likely MVP candidate Lamar Jackson. So if he's that guy, whether he's a 1 or 2, it doesn't sound like he's a 3. So if he's a 1 or 2, he may be worth a look-see. I don't know.
Now, I mean, I'm always a little skeptical. All right,
I drafted him in 2 leagues, so
yeah. I mean, I'm just a little skeptical looking at all right, 4 targets, 2 touchdowns. I'm not,
and Baltimore's run heavy anyway.
Yeah, I'm not sure how. I didn't get to see the game. I don't know if they were lucky touchdowns, what the situation was, but I like to see more targets as far as usage. To make sure he was definitely part of the game. And I'll have to go back and look at that. I have to go back and look at that game. But I mean, he was on my radar a little bit before the draft. Before the draft, I just saw other rookies that were, I just liked a little better.
I actually started him in 1 league and left him on the bench in the other. Like, I'm not rushing out to grab him or anything because I think, I have other things available. But like you say, 4 targets is minimal. That's not really enough for me to, be running after you. I get the 2 touchdowns, but 4 targets is not much.
Yeah.
So you're not feeling OJ Howard, 2 touchdowns, 2 targets, 2 receptions, 2 for 2. That's almost like Mike Evans last year.
100% of his catches and 100% of his catches are touchdowns.
I mean, it gets no better than that. It gets no better than that. That was a la Mike Evans last year.
Yeah,
4 catches, 2 yards, 2 touchdowns. I think week 14 and 15. So.
Yeah, in the words of Jay-Z, I don't believe you. You need more people. I'm sorry. I need to see a little more. He just had to be in the right place at the right time. But I don't know. You got to see. I mean, it may spark something for him.
Right. Maybe not, but yeah. But if you're looking at the waiver wire, that means you got somebody on your team that can get the boot. You drafted them, and they're expendable. After week 1, they're already expendable. Who you got, Jay?
Knox.
Yeah.
You said who?
Knox.
Knox.
Yeah, that 1 point he put up was not impressive, sir.
You didn't like that?
No, I got him in a couple of leagues and thinking I'm getting a steal in the draft,
Yeah, right. I was disappointed, really disappointed. And his usage and everything, it's a lot. I mean, they have a lot of mouths to feed over there too,
Yeah.
But I'm definitely that's the league where I'm really looking for a tight end, and I may have to make a trade or try to make a trade. But he's one. I really had to think about it. I don't want to do it, but it's so many other tight ends that can put up the same numbers. I can't see him making any major change. He did the same thing last year. I just, with them losing a couple of receivers, I thought he would get a little more usage, but guess not. Isaiah McKenzie's taking all of his targets.
Yeah, especially with the kind of points they put up. Like, why is he not involved? Yeah, that's worrisome for me too.
No.
Yeah.
Watch
definitely. Oh, my bad. Go ahead.
Watch next week. He get 2 touchdowns.
Go ahead and drop him and pick somebody up.
I still don't believe him. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Guru.
No, but you said it very poignantly. There's too many mouths to feed in that offense. I still would. I'm not really a dropping Knox right just yet, but keeping in mind where you had to draft them, you had to probably draft them around 9, maybe 8, but usually around 9 or 10. So I'm not overly concerned with that. For me, the guy who I'm dropping, who I don't even know why I drafted him, but I know why I drafted him because of the promise of what he could do, and that's Mr. Tony out of New York. Now, he's a prolific player, a phenomenal athlete. Once he gets the ball in his hand, the only problem is I don't know what the Giants are doing. I don't know if he crashed the owner's car. I don't know if he took the coach's daughter out. I don't know what he did wrong, but he is not getting the targets. And now that we have the resurgence of Mr. Saquon, I don't see what they're doing with Tony. They didn't even use him. They gave him two targets and a minimum amount of plays. So he's off of my team. He can be on your team now.
I completely agree with you, Guru. I didn't like what the coach said, after the game.
What did he say? I missed it.
He said they're going to be playing different receiver sets, and it just wasn't, they just didn't use his set. He should be getting more targets. But I didn't see Shepard came back. Shepard had a nice game.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, Saquon is back. I'm looking. I have him on two teams, and I'm looking to pick some people up. I'm like, should I drop him? It's a hard one because you know how good he is.
Yeah. Well, in one league, I'm dropping him tonight. I already put him on waivers. I'm trying to pick up the Rams defense is available and Cleveland defense is available. So I already put my waivers in. Mr. Tony is gone, and that's a 12-man league. I don't know how they're there, but they are. So He's already gone.
Yeah, you got to
forward his mail to the waivers.
About defense, they probably let the computer take their defense for him or something.
Right.
Because those two defenses shouldn't be on the waiver.
Well, they won't be because I have the number 2 waiver pick, so one of them will be gone.
Yeah. Well, I got Knox. I'm dropping him as quickly. I want it, but then like Truth Jay was saying, drop him. He's on the waiver wire. And, in 2 weeks, I'm playing somebody to pick them up and he gets 2 touchdowns. That would really bother me, especially because, like you said, I picked him to kind of fill out my starting lineup. So probably around round 9 or so. And then in our league, in the Faces League, I've got him and Njoku. They put up a point apiece. So where do I go from there? Where do I go from there? Like eeny, meeny, miny, mo. I don't even know who to play this week.
Just have to wait them out. You got to wait them out.
Yeah.
Well, don't worry. The Guru's office will be open if you need some advice later at the end of the week.
Yeah, I'll probably leave Knox in because I think they were just really intent on coming out and blowing the doors off of them. And they didn't get the ball around to him. But yeah, I got Jazeki in another league, but he's on the bench. But yeah, I can do away with him. I don't even know why I have him. And Devontae Parker, that's another one. I drafted him in one league. I can't stand him. I've had him before. I never liked him because he's inconsistent. He had 2 targets. He's on my bench, thankfully. But 2 targets, yeah, I'll draft him. I'll go get another kicker off the wire or something, second defense or something. Because otherwise, he's just gonna frustrate me, especially come down bye weeks and such.
Yeah.
Definitely expendable.
And then we go from draft to drop to what some call Fantasy Island, as the Guru put it. These are, your standouts, those who really, and are they real? Are they for real? We talked about a couple of them already that maybe had some really good days, some touchdowns out there, because obviously it's fantasy, so touchdowns are really going to matter. Who are these guys? Give me some names.
Well, your tier ones, your Jeffersons, your A.J. Browns, your Devontae Adams. And one thing I did recognize in this draft, different platforms, of course, have different rankings. But in this draft, for most platforms, the top RBs did not perform as well as the top wideouts. So you got Justin Jefferson, smash. Cooper Kupp, smash. Devontae Adams, smash. Jamar Chase, smash. Stephon Diggs, smash. Top 5 receivers, smash.
Yeah, 5 or 6,
and then you look at the backs. Jonathan Taylor, okay, he's all right. CMC, Derrick Henry, Austin Eckler. So the top 5 running backs versus the top 5 wideouts definitely did not pan out. And the receiver, and I'm sorry, the backs went off the field, off the chart way faster than the wide receivers. So when you talk about Fantasy Island or who's on all on their own, I have to go to the 5 wideouts that I just mentioned. They pretty much showed up, they showed out, and they showed why. Philly showed why they went all in on AJ Brown. Vegas showed why they went all in on Devontae Adams. And so those would be the ones as far as the wideouts who I would say. As far as my backs, I was really impressed with AJ Dillon, and I have him in about 9 leagues. I'm a real AJ Dillon guy. I was impressed with James Robinson. I actually had one league where somebody was trading me James Robinson for Stevenson, and I could have sworn I hit the trigger, but today I didn't see him on my lineup, so I have to discuss that with the commissioner offline. But but definitely, those 2 guys did a lot to help. CEH, for all purposes intended, taking the fact that the game was in garbage time quickly. But when you look at it per snap basis, he definitely stood out on an island of his own. And so the wideouts, those are the wideouts that I had. And of course, Mr. Kelsey is Mr. Kelsey. He's Zeus.
Yes. I had Kelsey's he's been on the island for a long time now. He's a definite when he's in the game. He's a definite. And honestly, I have to agree with you, Guru. The wide receivers from Cup to Jefferson to Chase, they all came out as billed. They came out from what they were supposed to be. The running backs, it seemed like the 2nd, 3rd, 4th round running backs that did a little better than your top running backs. Besides Jonathan Taylor, of course, he was good. But Henry didn't do much. But you had your Kareem Hunt. You had somebody's number 1 pick, Chubb. Saquon Barkley showed up. So it was funny how that worked out. Even you go to James Robinson. I mean, he was going what 10th round?
Yeah, and even on waivers.
Yeah, he's going on waivers in some leagues. So yeah, that was honestly that was a weird one. I don't expect that to be the norm. I think this week, they'll knock the cobwebs off and show up. But yeah, that's exactly how it went this week. No, wide receivers did their thing.
Yeah.
And I think, like you say, Jay, especially as the season moves along, it seemed like everybody wanted to showcase their quarterback, no matter who he may be. Even Joe Flacco was out there slinging that thing around.
Gino.
Okay. So yeah, it didn't matter who your quarterback was. Like, we're gonna show him what you could do.
Actually, I have one correction, Mojo. Everybody wanted to showcase their quarterback except for the one team that has a $257 million quarterback. Denver didn't want to put the ball in Russell Wilson's hand for whatever reason. So
4th and 5, and it was still like a good 20 seconds left or something. Like it was enough time. They could have ran at least another play, get closer to field goal range. I didn't understand that myself. Seemed like a pretty long field goal. What was it, 65 yards?
64 yards. It was a minute and 30 left on the clock.
It was enough time to run another play to the sideline, get them within a reasonable range.
Well, even before that, there was a minute 30 left on the clock when they decided to keep on running the ball, and they didn't get it. And there was 4th and 1 with 30 seconds left. They could have put it in the hands of Russell Wilson, and and nobody would fault you if you put the ball in the hands of Russell Wilson or even Jay Will or even Melvin Gordon. Absolutely, nobody would fault you. They would just say, "Oh man, didn't work out." Moving on. But now Hackett should probably get the Hackett
because that's what he's a specialist at too. That's why you brought him in to win you games in crunch time.
Maybe they were looking at their game where where Seattle didn't hand the ball off to beast mode on the 1 yard line and decided to throw it. Maybe they were inspired by that game, possibly.
And
I don't know.
on the flip side of that, Seattle did the exact opposite. They left the ball in Geno's hands when they could have easily just kept handing it to Penny. I needed like 10, 11 more yards to win a week from Penny, and it didn't work out. Boy, yeah, all of my games were super close. So, yeah, that was disappointing. I'm sitting there like, one more, give him the ball one more time, and I'd have probably won. I lost that one by 6 points. So, and he was right at 60 yards. Another 10 yards, I'd have probably been good. But that's neither here nor there. But this odd that they trusted Geno Smith to make something happen, to get something done. Meanwhile, you got a $50 million quarterback over here, and you're trying to kick a 65-yard field goal. It didn't make sense to me.
That has been done only once in the NFL history. Only once has a 64-yarder been ever made in the NFL history. Not to mention McManus, going back to 2017, he made
Jake Elliott.
Oh, probably. But going back to 2017, 2019, 20, McManus has attempted 60-yard pluses and has never made one. He missed a 60. I believe he missed a 61-yarder in 17, a 62 in 19. He tried a 64, missed
and
it. But I guess they
great.
figured today's the day.
Today's the day. And it was right down the middle. He doesn't have the leg. It's not gonna make it, guys.
You don't have the leg. You don't have the leg.
Right. Give me the leg. You know what I'm saying? No, man. Nobody mentioned Mr. Swift, DeAndre Swift.
Oh,
that was a bit of a surprise, and you know he was not a first rounder, but he definitely showed up. $140 something, I think, on the ground, and that's on like 15 carries. That kind of production is, if he can keep that up, if he can keep rocking at that tilt, he will be a first rounder next year. You know.
Well, he doesn't have to do that much. He can slow down a little bit because I have Jamal Williams on a couple of leagues, so and I don't have Swift anywhere, so he can slow down just a bit.
It was hard for me. It was hard to get him this year. Sometimes he would go early second round, and then he drop all the way to 3-2. Sometimes,
Wow.
So I did. Yeah, I passed on him at the one spot
because of the others like Chubb and Mixon. Mixon had a decent day too. Mixon had a decent day.
So. I mean, I thought about it though. I remember looking at him, and I'm like, I think I might have been at the 3-4 spot, and I wanted picks.
I think I kind of shied away from Swift this year because I had him. I don't know if it was last year or the year before, and it was just they weren't using him properly. It was too up and down. It wasn't really him. When they did have him out there, his production was stellar, but they just weren't giving him enough touches. If you can get him 17 touches every week, yeah, he's definitely worth a start. You know?
Yeah. I might see if I could trade for him. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I'm going to see what he does week 2, because, again, it's still Detroit. I don't know.
Yeah, was that you got to find out, was that just against the Eagles? And
right.
You know he's from Philadelphia, right?
Yeah, you were telling me. I didn't know until now.
Yeah, maybe he was trying to show out because he was home.
Right. Like, y'all got Miles Sanders. Wouldn't you rather have me?
Yeah, like he playing, I might have to go.
Miles Sanders had a serviceable day, in my opinion. It wasn't, fantastic, but it was definitely serviceable. I noticed none of you guys mentioned any of these quarterbacks. These quarterbacks really, like I said, showed out. You got Josh Allen started the week off like going bananas. Quite a few of them just slinging the ball around. Carson Wentz in that list.
Pat Mahomes won me a week.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry, I forgot Mr. Mahomes. Yeah, he went bananas with 5. I don't like that dude. I mean, I don't like saying his name because it sounds.
Well, you like hearing Jay Hurts because he helped me.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, he definitely did his thing with his arm and his legs. I like to see that. I like those versatile quarterbacks that can do a lot of different things. Hopefully, he doesn't have to win so many games in that fashion. But they just brought the blitz like every down. You know, we still have some naysayers that are like, "Oh, he ran around too much." He didn't really have a choice. You know.
Yeah, I mean, he got it done.
Yeah.
And for those that say he has no arm, that ball that he threw to AJ was in the air a good 50 yards. So cut it out.
Right.
Exactly.
Now, the other thing about the island is it's not always just about the heroes, but those zeros. And to me, one of the biggest ones was Mr. Aaron Rodgers, Mr. RELAX himself. And I guess we found
MVP.
I guess we found out how important Devontae Adams was.
Yeah.
Devontae Adams to Aaron Rodgers is Tom Brady to Bill Belichick. So you find out exactly what happens when you take your number one guy off of the team or you lose him, and then you're left throwing it to etc. A bunch of plus ones.
Yeah. Now Derek Carr looks like Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
Well, yeah, but he did have a couple picks. I know because I started him. But yeah, he did come back strong, which is what I always say. Even to go back to Mojo's point earlier, even if you have a quarterback who is known to throw picks, Jameis Winston, you still have to understand that the picks are going to be minus 3-4 points, but the touchdown ratio is going to be much higher. So when the year before when Jameis went 30 for 30, yeah, he had 30 picks, which 30 times 3 is what,
like
90?
5,000 yards and a ton of touchdowns.
Right, exactly. Yeah. But he had 30 touchdowns, so 30 times 6 is 1,800. So I'll take the 1,800 versus minus the 90.
Right. I'll take that all day. That's why I'm rolling with him this year.
It's a difference between fantasy value and win value, team value.
Reality, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers. I had him 1 year, and he was terrible that year, of course. He may have even still won MVP. I don't get it. They put the fanfare around. They put the fanfare where they gave him a label years ago. After he won a Super Bowl, it was like, oh, he's the truth. He's the everything. And so every year you have these expectations. He has a couple of, especially in fantasy, he has a couple of games a year where he really erupts, but he's really pedestrian in fantasy as far as numbers. He's not really he's not in the elite of fantasy quarterbacks.
Oh, definitely. He's definitely not in the elite. He's definitely not elite. And we're gonna find out exactly what Rodgers is made of this year. He doesn't have any weapons. And when you turn around and you look in the locker room and Alan Lazard is your number one threat, yikes.
And he's out.
And he was out. Right.
Sometimes I think Aaron Rodgers is too good because he knows how to manage the game to win. He may throw. He may end up throwing a lot in the first half, but if he knows he's up, he'll manage the game in a way to where he doesn't have to do much throwing. He's about winning the games. But for fantasy, I think I've had him one time because of that.
And exactly
on my bench.
And I think the biggest zero quarterback wise of the week. Not to pick on nobody, Dak Prescott, but like we were talking about before the injury, did he complete a pass? I mean, he was throwing behind receivers, he was throwing in the dirt, he was overthrowing people. I don't know what was going on there, but if that's what they thought was going to win an NFL game, they were sadly mistaken. He's probably, like I said, when he got hurt, he went off the field smiling like, "Get me out of here."
I just thought about something you said earlier, Mojo. You said that Dr. Jerry Jones had already established the injury before the medical personnel had an opportunity to make their examination. Maybe Dak's hand was broken before the game started. You ever thought about that?
Possibly. Maybe. Yeah, because I mean,
Jerry Jones knew.
I'm not a fan of him. I'm not a fan of him or the team at all. But it's something definitely looked off the entire game. He couldn't complete a pass, and it wasn't. Even when there was separation, the ball just was misplaced. It was just in the wrong place. So there may have been an underlying injury already going on. because he was very quick to pull himself out the game. Like, nah, I can't move it. And I looked like somebody would tell him get back out there, and he like, no. Look, see, I gotta go in the tent.
I gotta go. I got an owie.
Look, he jogged off like this. Who does that?
Someone that does not want to be there.
They mad because the fans were booing him. What you expect? It's week 1, and you trotting to the tent smiling, And Jerry was already headed down to a press conference like, yeah, he's out for weeks, y'all. He out for at least 4 weeks, y'all. What?
Right.
Bro, what you guys were you in the tent? Oh man.
That part.
Yeah, he was, but they were looking bad before that. I don't know.
So, what did you guys feel about the middle of the pack? Your Mitch Trubisky's, your Trey Lance's, your Kyler's, who should have been higher. What do you think about those guys?
Yeah,
Trevor
Kyler hurt me.
Yeah.
Well, you said he was the middle of the pack. I still won in those leagues. He didn't do terrible, but he didn't really do what he was supposed to do. I don't know those guys. I don't even like talking about those guys. It's like I hate them. Yeah. Like, why do that?
I think I have Kyler in one league as a backup quarterback, but I didn't really have Kyler because I just didn't trust the weapons. I know D-Hop is out for the first 8 weeks, and then I'm not really. I was feeling Zach Ertz when he was in Philly, but I'm not really feeling him in Arizona. And while Hollywood Brown might be nice, I don't know. I just didn't see the connection, and so therefore I didn't really have a lot of Kyler stock at all. I don't think I have Arizona stock at all. As a matter of fact, I think about it. No,
I think I've got Kyler in one league because my expectations were a little higher. I did have him in a league that I won last year. I had him and Hurts, and I started him every week, and every week he outperformed Hurts. And that's a keeper league, by the way. And in that league, I didn't set my keepers, so the computer kept set them for me. And based off projections for this year, the computer kept Hurts over Kyler Murray, which I'm so glad they did. Like you say, I think Hop being out is really going to affect the flow of that offense. But like you said, Ertz should excel while Hop is out. So that's going to be interesting to monitor. But Kyler Murray, he's a little guy that doesn't like to read the playbook, so I don't know, and doesn't like to watch film. We'll just have to see. But he's well paid.
Practice? We talking about practice?
Practice? What?
Yeah, I can see that for basketball. This is football, buddy. This is a whole different monster. You got one game a week.
Applicable.
Yeah. Like, come on, man. You got it.
On the team I have Kyler, I didn't want him. Quarterbacks just started flying off the board, and I just wanted to get the best I could, and that he was the best available at the time. I wasn't looking to get Kyler, but I actually have the 2 leagues. But the one league I have Burrow too. So I think I'm gonna play Burrow this week.
Yeah, he had a rough sledding this week, didn't he?
Fantasy way, he threw a couple picks, but
5 turnovers.
5 turnovers.
Yeah, 50.
So that's where that touchdown and turnover balance got to come into play.
It's a little skewed at that point, but he had 5 turnovers. But he still came back.
That's the difference between doing well in fantasy and doing well in the game. I don't care how many picks you throw.
Right, you can throw 5 of them all day, but you
throw
score 4 touchdowns.
350 and 3-4 touchdowns. I'm good. I don't give a, you're not my team. Now, if Hurts does that, I have a problem.
Yeah. He's trying to get that. He's trying to get the record. He's trying to beat James's record. You know what I'm saying?
But I'm not a Cincinnati fan, so I don't really doesn't bother me if they lose.
Yeah, and then I put Lamar in the same realm with Kyler, tier 1 quarterback. But he wasn't. He was drafted very high, and
as he should be.
He could have done better. He did good. Don't get me wrong. And I might just be biased because I have him and Mark Andrews, and I don't know what he was looking for. But Lamar's going to have a lot on his plate. I don't know if the contract situation was weighing heavy on his head or what the situation was, but I'm expecting a lot of great things out of Lamar moving forward. But then again, most of the quarterbacks in the league this year, they all started the first quarter. Some of them the first half real slow, real lethargic, and they had to get into the flow of things.
In fact, I have Kyler Murray and Lamar Jackson in the league where you can start 2 quarterbacks. So it'll work
Nice.
out. I think it's going to be some weeks, and I'm in it. So that's a total points league, and I'm already in first place. They both did enough, and I got Chubb and a couple of other guys, So
Yeah, you probably got you up with the first pick. So one thing, the New York Giants, um, at the end of the
Saquon.
game.
Oh, we ain't talking about Saquon enough. That boy is
No, we did.
ridiculous.
We talked enough about him.
Is the rest of the season gonna go like that, or is that just week 1, get it off your chest, and then next week, 80 yards?
I'll make a bold statement. Saquon he won't have that type of game, but he'll have about 120 yard, 140, 120, 130 yard game the weeks that he's healthy.
I'll take that, and I would love to have him. I got him on one team. I'd love to have him on more. If that's the kind of output I can get out of him, because you figure if he's got 120, it's likely he's probably punching 1 or 2 in from the goal line, or getting one of those long runs for a touchdown. So if he's back, to that 2018, whatever it was form, that is going to be very interesting for fantasy, especially with the running backs being as slim as they are at that elite level. So he may find himself in the top 5 for next year's draft.
Now, another thing the Giants did is at the end of the game, they went for 2. So there's a little segment that I like to call, week 1 is done, let's go for 2. So what y'all looking for in week 2? What are you looking towards? Who are you looking to play? Who are you looking not to play? Outside of just, mere waiver pickups, what is your week 2 looking like? Or have you projected it thus far?
I've been looking at it. I mean, I haven't given up on. Like I said, week one, I can't. It's still hard to gauge. I'm talking about someone like a Lamb or like a Mooney. It's hard to gauge some of your number one receivers when certain things happen in the game that they just didn't have the opportunity, or just the game flow wasn't right. So I'll give him another shot.
Does Keenan Allen's injury make you feel better about Mike Williams than you did before Keenan Allen's injury when Mike Williams only had 4 targets?
No.
I can't stand Mike Williams' usage. I do have him in one league. I do not normally pick him up because he's so inconsistent. Now, I don't think Keenan Allen's supposed to be out. He's not supposed to be out too long, right?
No, they got the Thursday game this week. That's why he's not playing, but it's not serious at all.
Yeah. And then with, what is it, Joshua Palmer and
Guyton
and Carter. Carter got into most of those targets after he left the game. I'm going to play him because I picked him up as a number 1 or a number 2 wide receiver, but I've always had an issue with his inconsistency. I had to pick him up,
Allen missed the second half and still had the most targets.
I don't think Mike Williams' usage goes up with Keenan Allen being out. I think somebody else is going to run the routes, and Mike Williams is going to be Mike Williams. I don't think the Keenan Allen injury affects his, and especially we're talking about just this week. I'm not running trying to get Mike Williams or anything like that, because Keenan Allen should be back next week, pretty much full health. So yeah, I'm not sold on that. I got one. My lineup, I'm gonna pretty much stay the same unless I got somebody that's injured. Like in one league, I do have Keenan, so I'll fill in for that. I'm having a rough time right now though because I have Devontae Smith on in my flex right now, and he got me 0. So it's kind of tough to put a guy back in there with a 0, but I'm gonna leave him in there in the flex because he's probably my best flex option that I have in that league.
I'd like to promise you that he won't do worse.
He can't do worse, man.
Well, yes, he can. He can get a fumble.
Yeah, true.
Negative
Thanks. You
two.
didn't jinx him.
I have had some of those before.
I
-2. What do you mean -2? Like, what happened?
Right.
Who shot him?
Yeah.
That's what Joshua. That's what Cook James. What is it? James Cook, the rookie.
Oh yeah.
I did that this week. Yeah.
But I will say one thing I had to learn in fantasy, and it took me a few years to learn to have some patience.
Mhm.
I was I was always real quick. Just somebody didn't score when they wanted to score, I'd take them out. I wouldn't play them the next week, and then they come back the next week and do what they're supposed to do. I'm not saying that about Mike Williams. I'm just saying that I would do that sometimes with other players. So I had to start learning to just wait it out and ride it out, and let your players do what they do. And that's why you draft a balanced team, so hopefully you're still putting up good points when they don't do well. Now they give me 2-3 weeks of non-production, then they have to go. And I tell you, no, Williams doesn't do anything this week. He's gone. But because I didn't want him
dropping him gone or gone like
that's personal. Like
Yeah.
I didn't want him in the first place. But I don't know.
Too.
I don't know if I'm playing Thursday. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm playing Thursday.
I
You don't know
definitely
if he's
expect
playing?
week 2 to
I don't
see
know
a
if I
turn.
want to play him.
Oh,
Yeah, you know how I feel about Thursday games. Anyway, and it's 2 of them this week. No, it's 2 Monday night games. Yeah.
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 I do expect to see quite the turnaround in running back play in week 2. I expect some of the bigger names to show up, and still some of the guys that showed up that were unexpected to still, continue on pace. So
Are you referring to like Aaron Jones and Dylan? Because
yeah,
Dylan led the team in rushing, receiving yardage, and reception.
oh no, I traded for Dylan, so I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I know you are.
I'm talking about
I saw
other people.
Those guys.
Yeah, no, not my guy.
Those guys. So how
Yeah, I
that
didn't
work
look
out?
at
for
I
you?
didn't look at what if that trade worked out.
Jay
but
Williams?
I think it worked out in my favor.
It did. Mac
Yeah.
Jones had the broken back, and Jay Williams fumbled at the goal line. He got about, I think, 14 points, and
Okay. Yeah, so you can have him.
he got about the same that Trey Lance had. Put it like that.
Yeah.
He was
And
equal
Dylan
with
is going to
Lance.
be, I think Dylan, you can count on that all season, especially since there's not a lot of weapons for Aaron Rodgers. They're going to have to keep saving him because he doesn't have that deep threat that he had with Devontae. So he's going to be doing a lot of dump offs to the running backs and to whoever else is running across, the slot back and slot receiver. And I'll take it. I'll take that every week. And he's in the flex. So, yeah.
I saw Jay Williams then. He seemed like he was getting some touches.
He got some touches, but so did Gordon. And that's the only problem with a split backfield. He got some touches, and so did Gordon.
I did see that. As a matter of fact, they gave Gordon, I know the first few goal line touches they gave to Gordon.
Yeah.
And neither one of them was super effective. So it's not like one of them was a showstopper and they really put up any points. I mean, between them, they might have got what Dylan got. So
Yeah.
I'm good.
Gordon,
I kind of try to stay away from Gordon. Always do.
Yeah, definitely.
Even when he's been the solo back, it's like he what are you averaging 1.8 yards a carry or something? It's not enough production for me to warrant a spot on my squad.
I think we kind of touched on every team except for Tennessee and Atlanta.
Atlanta is the running back for Atlanta. Great day. Is that for real?
No.
Yeah.
He didn't look for real.
Buying or selling. Buying or selling, Maul. Buying or selling.
Talking about Cody Patterson?
I only have him in
Yeah.
Pierce. Damian Pierce.
No, that's Houston.
Yeah, Cordarrelle Patterson.
Oh, Cordarrelle Patterson. I've never had him. I'm sorry. Yeah, no, I've never had Cordell Patterson. I mean, he had a good day. He had a
I
good
skip
day.
by. Yeah, but
I
you
have him
can't.
on
But the
my bench
level,
in one league, and I'm trying to figure out, is it for real?
but the level of sustainability, he's not a. He doesn't have a running back body. So him being able to do that for 17 games, I don't see that happening. That's why I have Algier on my bench because I know they have A. Will, and above him they got D. Will, but D. Will got hurt. A. Will really wasn't up on game, and Algier wasn't even dressed, so he wasn't even dressed for the game. I just don't see Patterson being able to do that. Not to mention, they don't really have any of the wide receiver help outside of Drake London, the rookie, and of course Pitts, who lines up wide as well. So I see them putting Patterson more into that position, more like into a baby Debo Samuel role. But to your point with Houston and D. Pierce, yeah, he was exactly what I thought he was going to be, and which was nothing. So I don't know. I'm out on Pierce, rookie running back on a team that's not really going to be moving the ball too much. Even though Davis Mills did look kind of, he did look above average, but I don't see how that's going to work with that offense at least until like week 6, 7.
Yeah, if not next season. I mean, they may need another piece or two. I mean, I think they're going to be good, but they may need I don't know, something they're going to have to get in sync. Davis Mills looks all right. I don't want anything to do with their backfield, but
Now I love Brandon Cooks.
yeah,
I got him in like 5 leagues.
yeah. Brandon Cooks, he's consistent, always has
Mhm.
been. But yeah, I don't want anything to do with Atlanta. But I do have Algier on the bench in one league, but it's so I can't wait around for that. I don't know. I need somebody. Somebody had to get hurt quick, and then I don't know how they're going to use the rest of them. There's no telling.
True.
So
And I don't
I
really know
mean,
what to take away from Tennessee. I don't know what happened. Uh, they were playing the Giants, right? It was supposed to be that was
Hey,
supposed to be
hey,
we come in and we whoop the tail.
hey, I
And
think people
meanwhile, you got
forget.
Saquon Barkley over here going off, looking like Henry. So,
But you know what?
the worst part is they catch Buffalo this week. So I don't know. They might start off the season 0-2.
I
Derrick
I
Henry,
didn't
I hope
watch
he
that.
has a bounce back game.
I didn't watch that game, but the Giants finished off last season. I think it was like the last 6 games of the no, I'm sorry, the last 7 games they were a top 10 defense. The last 4 games they were a top 5 defense. So the Giants defense is nothing to sneeze at. They are formidable. Now, the one reason why you probably don't recognize that is because their offense was disgusting last year. So
Right.
no matter how good your defense is, when your offense, is giving up 25, 28 points, 31 points a game, nobody talks about the defense because you lose.
Right.
But so we'll see.
And Tennessee's missing a huge piece of their offense. Sorry for you.
Are you really? Are you really sorry?
No, not at all. My boy, one of my friends, he says that they're his second favorite team now for the next 3 years.
Tennessee.
Yeah. He's an Eagles fan, by the way. Yeah.
I figured.
Yeah.
I figured.
But
Well,
yeah, this is week 1 is done. We're going into week 2. Again, you got us here, the Three Faces of Fantasy. We here every Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Again, me, myself, Mojo, Guru, and Jay the Truth. You can always catch us here. You can also catch me around 9 p.m. this evening, as a matter of fact, right after this show. Be on Matchup Madness representing those Carolina Panthers, more of a commentating role than a
that's
fan.
Eastern
Um,
Standard Time.
yeah, as well as Daylight Savings Time. Y'all might not have that, but yeah, I don't know why they changed the name of it. We need to get rid of it altogether anyway. Also, check us out on YouTube. Please hit the like and share button and even subscribe to the channel. We're just getting started. The season is fresh among us. Any last words, fellas?
Week 1 was great. I'm looking forward to week 2. Hitting these waivers, about to go make a couple of moves right now. And week 2 is going to be interesting. It's going to be the bounce back. You get to see what happens, and all of the week 1 injuries and changes. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. We're getting close. We're getting close, and that's all I have. This is Guru Mel B, and like most of you can find us here on Tuesdays. You can also find us here on Sundays at 4:30.
Oh, yeah.
Same time both days, 4:30. By coincidence. And other than that, like I always say, you can probably find me in the kitchen washing the dishes before my wife gets home, so I don't get in trouble.
Well, yes, everybody. Fantasy has started. First week. Don't be impatient. Let everybody work out. You draft. You did your research. You drafted with purpose. Try to give them some time to work out. The people that you're a little skeptical about right now, and let's have some fun. Catch me here on Tuesdays. Also Sundays will be in between the afternoon game and the late game. Let us know how you did, how you doing, and what was exciting for that week. And we'll see you next. We'll see you on Sunday.
All right, get used to these faces. We're gonna be some fantastic people this year. This week I'm going 8-0 this week, guys. That's my prediction, my early prediction.
We might have to start putting the score up, like keep the score like.
Oh
yeah, we need a scorecard. See where everybody at.
You know what? That was something I wanted us to look into, was to just make straight up NFL picks. We can do that offline and share it, and then see which one of you guys can come in second place and which one of y'all can be in third place.
Yeah, okay, Guru. All right, y'all, for this evening, this last second show. Y'all have a good night. Thanks for tuning in. Like and subscribe.
3